What is your theory?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
no.
You must have an idea.
My theory is that we should investigate everything strange that happened on that day so we can figure out what happened.
But are you suggesting
that? Are you
suggesting
why is everybody
Egypt?
Why are we pretending that we don't know why we ask questions? Like why? Like you're a journalist.
You
know what this is. You're like.
You gotta have a theory. No, the party that's supposed to have the theory is the state who is prosecuting the alleged perpetrator of the crime. That's who's supposed to have the theory. And so far, their theory has a lot of holes in it. Piers Morgan hosted Candace Owens on his show last night, and you know, I've seen this skit before. Piers Morgan, whether it's the Ukraine war, whether it's COVID, whether it's Israel and Gaza, or the Iran war, or now Charlie Kirk, he does the same thing every time. And it's the same exact thing that we countered with the Syrian conspiracies, right? I don't know how much we can talk about this on YouTube. It's long past the date of expiration on this conspiracy, I guess, given that Assad is no longer in power. But, you know, for a very long time, the mainstream media, the CIA, the State Department, Israel, they're putting out the chemical gas stories with Assad in Syria and Ghouta and Douma and other places. And what came to be a very easy case to debunk was specifically in Douma, the story was completely fraudulent, right? And this was exposed in a major cover-up scandal. Aaron Maté did the bulk of the reporting on this. He did an incredible job reporting on what was going on with this cover-up at the what was the name of the organization? I forget now. It's been so long. The Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, the OPCW. This was a really big deal because it completely debunked, Aaron's reporting completely debunked the narrative that Assad was responsible. And while Aaron was not an investigator on the ground in Syria, and the real investigators who did go to Douma, Syria, were completely silenced in the process of drafting their reports and the subsequent final report that was released to the public about who committed these attacks that resulted in people dying in Douma, Syria. What Aaron was able to debunk was that Assad was responsible. Okay, he was able to debunk that. He was able to show that there was a clear cover-up at the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, and that this was done in coordination with the U.S. State Department, with the CIA, and it was a really lousy cover-up job. But whenever Aaron or myself or Jimmy Dore or anyone else came out and exposed this, you'd have idiots like Piers Morgan or Vosh, right? Remember that guy? He did this, come out and they say, but if it wasn't Assad, then who was responsible? What are you saying actually happened? Well, of course, we all have our theories as to what actually happened. And there is a lot of proof as to what actually happened, thanks to subsequent reports from these whistleblower investigators that came out from the OPCW and said what they actually found and what that led them to believe took place in Douma, Syria. But what matters most and what can be definitively proven is that the official narrative was a bunch of lies. And if the official narrative was a bunch of lies, you have to ask the question, why are they lying? How many lies are they telling? If the CIA and the State Department is lying about that to try and depose Bashar al-Assad in Syria, then we can only imagine who is actually responsible for committing these attacks, the U.S. proxies in the region. Even if there's no definitive proof of that at the time, we at least could deduce that that was a possibility. Maybe there was a high likelihood of that. Obviously, now there's more proof that has come out that has led to that conclusion for all of us. But this is kind of the area of the point at which we are at now in this Charlie Kirk story. We know we're being fed a bunch of lies. We can see who is lying to us. We don't have, I guess, the smoking gun proof that this person or that person coordinated what actually took place and they were working in collaboration with this group of people. But a picture is beginning to come together as to what was actually going on here. We can't say this, beyond the shadow of a doubt, because without verifiable proof, you will be sued, even if you do have a strong hunch that this is the case, and you do have proof that they are lying about the official narrative. But I wanted to say that before we watch this video, because you're going to understand that while Piers Morgan is asking the question to Candace, what is your theory? You say this is a conspiracy. Well, what is your theory as to what actually happened? Well, you could just as easily flip the question to Piers Morgan and say, Piers, what is your theory? And his theory will align directly with what we know thus far from the FBI and from TPUSA. And we will be able to point all of the same exact holes in their conclusions that we have done for the past 3+ months. And all he's going to say in response is, well, if that's, not what happened, then what is your theory? It's like this broken record that doesn't actually do anything except for muddy the waters of those who are actually trying to search for the truth. So take a listen.
Why? What is your theory?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
no.
You must have an idea.
My theory is that we should investigate everything strange that happened on that day so we can figure out what happened.
But are you suggesting that? Are you suggesting
why is everybody
Egypt?
Why are we pretending that we don't know why we ask questions? Like why? Like you're a journalist.
But
you know
what this
is. You're like,
you got to have a theory. No, the party that's supposed to have the theory is the state who is prosecuting the alleged perpetrator of the crime. That's who's supposed to have the theory. And so far, their theory has a lot of holes in it. Okay. Now, hopefully, Candace, other journalists, the Gray Zone, whoever else is working on this and trying to look into the primary sources, the facts on the ground, the people that were there, can deduce, if not Tyler Robinson, who is actually responsible, right? That's the goal. But right now, the only party that has all of the evidence, I guess, really is TPUSA and the feds. And none of their story adds up. So it's not so much as Candace's job to come up with a theory. Obviously, she is working to that end. But also, part of her work is to debunk the lies that are being sold to us. Everyone always is out, Nick Fuentes, Viva Frey, they're out here saying, well, Candace doesn't have the answer for actually what happened. It's just ludicrous. Well, okay, you could say that, but also what the feds are saying is ludicrous, and that's very easy, much easier to deduce than saying, well, if it wasn't the feds and they're lying to us, or if the feds are lying to us, then who actually was responsible? That's an argument that could be made, and I think a lot of people are understanding is logical.
Like, what's going on? What's
What's
going
your
on? Why do
theory?
you want to know why these planes were tracking Charlie? Well, my theory is that we are being sold absolute Fed slop. The media is doing their Operation Mockingbird Part 2 scenario by telling us, well, unless you absolutely have a conclusion, you can't even ask the question. Yes, we very well
But
damn
it may be,
can.
Candace.
Keep asking consistent questions until we get a clarified explanation for what happened on that day. And right now, we have nothing, okay? And that is the reason why people are watching my show, because I'm the only one not treating them like they're absolute idiots who don't have two eyes and who believe in magic bully theory and who understand that Egyptian planes should not have been tracking Charlie even 3 times this year would be an anomaly, okay? They've been tracking him. We don't know where it's going to end, but we are going to keep asking questions until we get clear answers.
Candace, it may be that the person in the media spewing bullshit to the public is you.
No, nice try. It's not. It's
Could
you
be.
by saying, why are you asking questions? Don't you worry about Mikey's feelings? Everyone knows what this is. And like I said, because we have the example, the concrete example of after JFK's assassination, the media members quite literally being put on the payroll of the CIA, we have a historical example that we can look at and go, we're not doing that again. Doesn't matter how many times you keep telling the public that I'm spewing bullshit. It is only because there has not been anything that has come out of this investigation that makes any sense that the public is not listening to. I am sorry to say this, Piers, people like you. And
again, there's two roads that have to be trekked down here. There's the road of saying, is the Fed story correct? Are there gaping holes in it? Are they lying to us? That's one road that everyone has to go down. The other road is to say, well, if that is all true, that this is a bunch of horseshit that they're shoveling down our throats, then what is the reality of the situation? Those are two separate things. And it's very hard to arrive at the question, the answer. So, well, if not the Fed story, who's responsible? It's hard to arrive at any sort of logical answer there for a single person with a team of 4 journalists or 3 journalists, not even journalists, team members that she has working for her podcast. She's the only person that I can see that is doing this. It's hard to arrive at that question when the feds are withholding all of their evidence, obviously because there's an ongoing case, but they're not being transparent about much of anything. They could at least be a little bit transparent. I'm not saying dump all of the evidence and ruin the case. I'm just saying a little bit of transparency would be nice when absolutely nobody trusts the feds to a point which I don't think we've ever really seen before in at least modern American history. And if that's the case, that could cause real problems for the security of our country. If no one, the whole charade of the government being the legitimate authority collapses, that causes problems. So maybe they should think about that. Now, the other side is TPUSA. TPUSA could give us evidence if they wanted to. They could say, well, Candace, we're going to show you this in a private manner. Candace, we're going to give you this information or this data or this video, and we feel as though it is not going to compromise the case that the feds are pursuing. Well, why is none of that happening? We know for a fact that the first road is a bunch of bullshit. Now it's the question of going down the second road.
And what I love about you and I sitting down is at this exact same time last year, you were doing the same weird questioning and making all these things when I said that they were committing a Holocaust against the Gazans, and then you changed your mind.
Actually,
Piers,
this time,
I'll see you next year when you change your mind again, and we have more information about what happened, and you realize
Candace,
that the difference between me and you is that I have the courage to take the risks and ask the questions first, okay, before it's popular. You wait until it becomes popular, and then you change your mind.
You may remember that I only defended the genocide for 2 years. Guy is such a joke. Such a joke. Anyways, do not fall for these stupid arguments. Stupid arguments. It would be the equivalent of, the JFK assassination taking place, or the RFK or MLK assassination taking place, and saying, well, we don't know who actually killed JFK, and because we don't know who actually killed JFK, anyone who questions the official narrative must be lying. Because we don't know who actually killed JFK, then Lee Harvey Oswald must have actually killed JFK. You see how that's a stupid line of argument? It's actually not just stupid, it's disingenuous when it is coming from intelligent people. I do have full faith that some of the people who are coming out and making that argument right now are actually intelligent people. And you have to wonder, why are intelligent people so clearly deceiving the public and trying to attack Candace, attack the Gray Zone, attack Tucker Carlson, attack even Megyn Kelly for simply saying the official narrative doesn't add up? And then they try to smear them and say, well, if they don't have the answers to who unalived Charlie Kirk, then don't listen to them about how they feel about the official narrative. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's the same thing that they always do. I'm not surprised, but there you have it.